is a lot like a drug. But like any drug, it is possible to overdose. One can experience fear so deeply that the mind breaks.
No!
How much fear can you take?
Please, no!
ADHD overdose only at the shallow grave.
No!
They say there's evil in those hills. Little Thaddeus is up there, all alone, waiting for victims. But those tales just aren't true. He's not alone. Are you brave enough to enter the haunted hills? Only at Shallow Grave.
All right, and it's 8 o'clock on Tuesdays during the haunt season, so you know what time it is. It is time for HauntScene Radio. And I am Johnny Bronto, and as usual, I'm joined by my lovely purple lipsticked co-host. And your name is? Who are you again?
I'm Courtney Peters. Hello, everyone.
Excellent. And this week, we are here to talk about the Shallow Grave.
Yes, that very, very freaky commercial we just saw.
And we are, it's funny because, we actually had a little pre-conversation before we started this episode, and we're like, can we actually talk about this for an hour? It's an amazing haunt, and we're really excited to really, really talk about it. I honestly feel like I could just say it's awesome, spend the money, go there, drop the mic, in the episode, roll credits. Just don't take my word for it. We've actually done this several times now, so we're really, really excited about talking about the Shallow Grave. Now, let's go back in time a little bit, because we actually have a slight little history with the Shallow Grave, and it was opened in 2013. So unfortunately, we were doing other stuff. We didn't really get a chance to do the Shallow Grave that year. Our first year was actually 2014. And it was I didn't really know what to expect. I'd never done like a local haunt before. I mean, everything I had done had been like, mainstream, like theme park, Horror Nights, Howl Scream, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's kind of all I had been to as well. I mean, I did a couple local haunts in Michigan when I was a young kid, and I remember they freaked me out just because the atmosphere is so different. But I definitely didn't know what to expect going into this at all, and especially even when you get there, the location. I mean, you can't see inside at all. You don't know what's in there, so it's really freaky.
Yeah, so we went through, and obviously there have been some changes since last year, and we'll kind of go over that, but just to kind of give our initial impressions, because we actually went together in 2014, and we actually didn't even know each other that well.
No, not really.
This random dude taking me out to some random haunt in Winter Haven, but we went, and we had a pretty good time. So let's talk about our initial impressions of the Shallow Grave. Now, I believe we went through the Haunted Hills part of it first, which is when you walk in, there's two haunts. There's one on the left and one on the right. And we initially went in through the Haunted Hills. And we have a couple pictures. Obviously, we don't want to spoil too much, but we got some pictures to just kind of show you like the theming of it. And when we went through that house for the first time, and we're going to kind of compare and contrast last year to this year, and actually one in between. What were your initial impressions of the Shallow Grave last year?
It was definitely terrifying. This sort of made me feel uncomfortable in a way that, the more centralized theme park haunts don't. It's very in your face. They can touch you. That was one of the things that shocked me. I think at one point someone came out from like underneath a table and grabbed our ankles. And so there were a lot of things that shocked me and surprised me, and things that I hadn't seen before. And I was so impressed, especially they had a lot of like large sets, large mechanical things. And even when we went in, we were waiting in line, and there was a group in front of us that walked in the door, and probably 5 seconds later we saw them screaming and running out, and they were just gone. They were done after the first room, and at that point I was absolutely terrified to know what we were getting into. So it became one of my favorites quickly.
Yeah, that was surprising, and that's actually before we got into the house. We're like waiting in the queue. The queue actually used to go up to like the front porch there, and that was our initial impression of the shallow grave as two little teeny bopper girls going in. Not even like 10 seconds later, screaming and running right back out. And that was like
after the very first
awesome.
Scare.
And I'm kind of I'm kind of a, I would consider myself, a haunt connoisseur. But I had never been to like a hardcore haunt before, where it's like scary and not like fun scary. I mean, it is fun scary, but it was like they're out to get you. So so we went, and we were able to go into the house, and we walked in the first room. Now we got some pictures coming up in a bit, but I just kind of want to do a little verbal walkthrough. So we walk through, we go into the first room. There's like some guy's like killed himself or whatever. The backstory behind Haunted Hills is basically Thaddeus was the caretaker of a location during like the Great Depression, and the bodies kept coming in, but they couldn't pay him or whatever. So he was poor, he's all angry, and he eventually like turned to cannibalism with his family and started burying everybody basically with bricks in the coffins and everything. And it's your typical, redneck kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess maybe it's a little
very
appropriate,
twisted.
but it was. And my first experience with Thaddeus, like the main character here, he's on all the promotional materials. He's on the billboards on I-4. He's just this evil looking dude. And the first room into Haunted Hills, he came out of the side from like my peripheral vision, and I whipped my head around so fast I actually like pulled a muscle in my neck. So I'm like, oh god, like the whole time, and I'm like struggling to maintain not being hurt, because I had never have anybody scare the crap out of me like that before. It's fun. It's like a rush. So,
I thought you were just screaming because you were so scared. I didn't know you were in pain.
When I was younger, I had a previous injury with my neck, and it half did it again. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was. I mean, literally, it was crazy. And
that's why there's warnings on the ticket.
There are warnings. As a matter of fact, we're actually going to look at the tickets in a moment, because I think they're really interesting to look at. And the actual huge warning sign. It's funny because we go to the shallow grave, and the things we take pictures of are all the warning signs on everything. But it was
for evidence, in case we don't come out.
In case we don't come out. Although the actual disclaimer on the 2014 ticket, maybe I never actually sat down and read it before, but it's pretty insane.
Oh, so it's intense.
We'll go over that here in a bit.
Okay.
So we got through that one, and barely. I mean, I feel like it was barely. I mean, they're like grabbing. They're really kind of coming at you and everything. And it was pretty crazy. So we got through it. They could touch you. They really liked you, apparently. Because I remember that I was behind you, and they were like grabbing your hair and playing with your hair.
It's the hair. Shit. Everyone wants to touch the hair.
Nobody wants to touch my hair, though. So
I don't blame them.
Although I did blow a kiss to some dude, and that was a big mistake.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that in a bit.
Boyfriend clown.
Yeah, that was scary. All right, so we went through the Haunted Hills the first time, and it's everything. It's like this caretaker, this like funeral parlor, this place where they clean up bodies. You go into like this slaughterhouse, into like a cemetery, and it's nuts.
It's like a bedroom with life-size dolls. Yeah, really freaky.
It was really, really crazy. Now, I came out of that with a desire to do it again. I knew this is something I want to do every year. Like, if they would allow me to subscribe to the actual Shallow Grave, I totally would. So we go out of that one, and we'll kind of go over it a little bit more in detail a little bit later, because there have been a lot of changes from last year to this year. And we went through the other haunt, which is next door, which they just opened up last year, which was the ADHD, the Attention Deficit Haunt Disorder.
Yeah.
All right, dog's whining. I better give him something to chew on. All right, Cody.
Distraction.
Here's the distraction stick. Stop whining. There you go, buddy. Have fun. There you go. All right, so because he waits until we do the show to start whining. So we go through ADHD. Now, I will admit, in my initial impression, I was not as big a fan as ADHD as I was Haunted Hills. And I'll be completely honest with you. I liked it. It was scary. I mean, but it had so many different kind of mishmash themes, like army zombies and voodoo house and crazy midway with these clowns and this big cave with spiders and stuff like that.
There's a lot going on.
It was, and maybe I think it was just kind of the flow kind of threw me off a little bit. It wasn't that I didn't have a good time, because the set pieces and the actual characters and everything in the house is absolutely amazing. I don't want to take anything away from it. It's really, really good. But my brain has to kind of make a cognizant jump from one section to the other, and it was just like, okay, midway, okay, voodoo, okay, like this stuff, and it was really, really cool. It was really, really cool. Now, we did actually get an opportunity to do the house again.
Yes.
And we went to the Halloween Extreme this last May, and we went on one of the tours. Half of the tour was actually, the first stop was the Shallow Grave, and it was like the middle of May, so this is like a perfect haunt fix. And we
no, definitely,
we go in, and it was the same layout as everything. Nothing had changed at this point. They had characters. It was live. It was great. They fed us.
Yeah.
It was awesome. They had a bunch of characters running around. It was really cool. I got a couple pictures of those. And we went through, and I knew that some changes were coming, but I still liked it. Now, I will admit, I'm not a big fan of the haunts that make you like crawl or crouch down or whatever, and that kind of plays into this year, which is kind of interesting in the way everything worked out.
Yeah.
So that's everything that we have up to here in the past. Now, I might toggle back and forth a little bit, but here in the slideshow, here's the actual ticket from the last year. So I scanned this in so you can see the front of the ticket. It's a full-size ticket. It's really, really neat. This is like a collector's item. I'm sure, whatever.
They're pretty cool.
But the actual back of the ticket is the interesting part. So
I remember the first time we went, I posted a picture of this on my Facebook, and I got contacted by my mom immediately to make sure I was safe, and she wanted to know where in the world it was that I could be in so much danger. So I got in trouble for this one. I actually got in trouble for going here.
I mean, we were friends, but we were like close at that point. So I'm gonna read this because apparently some people, whatever. So some people are actually reporting that this is coming through a little blurry. I'm actually watching the stream and it looks fine, so I think it's might be bandwidth. Okay. I'm just gonna kind of read this. So entering Haunted Hills or ADHD at the Shallow Grave entails known unanticipated risks that could result in physical or emotional injury. I had both.
I think I experienced both.
Risks may include, among other things, being touched, slips, falls, collision with fixed objects. That was me, or other participants, bruises, twists, sprains, breaks, seizures, and or death. Thank you.
Death.
Yeah. So you know what you're signing up for here.
And we can account for that. We both had the physical and emotional trauma, and we just did this past weekend, and I have about like 4 or 5 bruises on my leg, so they're not joking. It happens.
Understand that such risks simply cannot be eliminated without jeopardizing the essential qualities of this activity. By purchasing a ticket to the Shallow Grave, it is expressly understood that you have been made aware of the risks and agree to assume all risks existing in this activity. Your participation is purely voluntary, and you participate in spite of the risks. By purchasing a ticket, you acknowledge that if anyone is hurt or property is damaged, you may be found by a court of law to have waived your right to maintain a lawsuit against the Shallow Grave. So you basically sign your life away on this one here.
Yeah, just they have to account for it. You never know. And it also says in bold, in capital letters, I think, no refunds, because I'm sure
it actually says that on the ticket this year, so which I actually scanned in. So we'll look at the ticket for this year. Okay.
All right.
So this is basically what you're in for. Now, if you have not ever had a chance to do the Shallow Grave in Winter Haven, I put the map up a little bit earlier. You can go to www.theshallowgrave.com. At that point, good luck. It's definitely worth the trip. I mean, it's like basically if you're going on I-4, get off at exit 48, and it's about 20 minutes off the freeway, maybe 15, 20 minutes depending when you're driving. it is totally worth the trip, especially if you're like if you've only done like Horror Nights or Howl Scream. This is completely different. It's completely different. They will get you here. I mean, you can't touch anybody, but like, you know, at the theme parks they can't touch you. Here they can touch you, and they touch you. And it's scary. It's scary. Yeah, it's not it's a legitimate like rush of like actual like fear on this one. It's really, really neat. It's not very expensive. I mean, it's like $25 for like the combo ticket. You get to do both haunts. That is so worth it. It is so worth it.
And these aren't tiny haunts. These are really long. I mean, I think you timed us when we were going through, and it was how long? Like
when
10,
I went through,
10 minutes
it was about 10 minutes. In my estimation, when we actually talked to one of the staff members, Eric, who we'll talk about a little bit later, he actually said that it's anywhere from 10 to 12 minutes. The house goes on forever. And it's like, you know, at some point, you know, if you're legitimately scared, you're like, oh my God, let me out of here. Because there is that thought like, man, is this thing going to end? Because I'm going to die in here. So, but yeah, they go on. It is so worth it. It's in this big, huge warehouse. There's like a loading dock going up to it. It's really, really neat. Definitely check out the Shallow Grave. Now, fast forward to that summer, Courtney and I decided to actually do this haunt scene thing. And we go back and forth forever about a name. That was probably the hardest part, was picking the name of the show. And
oh my gosh.
Yeah, we had like 500 choices, and we finally settled on HauntScene. And
we just had to go.
we really didn't have much up. I mean, we had a website, the old WordPress site. If you have a chance, go to HauntScene.com. You'll actually see a lot of new updates that we've revamped the website. Thank you to our friend Josh for that. And we posted a couple things, couple articles to kind of get warmed up. Is that we literally just kind of came out of the gate right before the actual haunt season, and we put it out on Facebook. We got a Twitter, we got Instagram. We were just kind of slowly getting going. And I believe you were the first person to come across Eric, Eric Dodd, D-O-D-son. Apparently I was saying it wrong. I'm sorry, Eric. But Eric Dodson. And I got to admit, man, we could not have met a better person to really justify doing this. I mean, he's been awesome. Like, Eric Dodson is actually, I got his official title here. Eric Dodson is the character development and scenic designer of The Shallow Grave, and apparently he was a character previous to that. Yes, super fancy. So he actually, I made sure that he gave me all the legitimate info here. You got the little Skype thing coming up on your screen. That's okay. Courtney's connected with a Skype call. Shocker. Okay. So we met Eric, and Eric, like every step of the way, man, he's been, you know, we've promoted The Shallow Grave. We talked about The Shallow Grave. He actually got us really excited about doing it again, which is really, really cool. We finally got to meet Eric after talking to him for, I don't know, the last 2 months or so, like online. We finally got to meet him and most of the Shallow Grave crew at Howl Scream last Saturday, which was really, really neat. Was it last Saturday? No, it was the Saturday previous to that. 2 Saturdays ago. And they're the nicest guys, man. Eric is so cool. He's such a nice guy. So
yeah, they're awesome.
We finally decide to take the plunge and go during the preview weekend, which was the last Saturday, which was the 3rd. So kind of fast forward to now. Now, we had been talking to Eric here and there about things for a month or two or whatever. And we go, and Courtney has some apprehension about one of the houses.
I do. ADHD, I mean, you said you had some problems with the cohesion, and that didn't bother me much, but I am just really uncomfortable in this house. It's fear to the point where I feel like I'm not going to survive, and I don't want to get halfway through and be a chicken and have to like bail out, you know?
Don't do that.
But when we went in May, I got real scared in one of the rooms. They have this gigantic alligator that comes out of the wall. I think we've talked about it. And it's just like, it pinned me, it separated us. And I've never been so scared in my life. I literally think my heart stopped for a few moments. Like we almost needed an ambulance. And there's a whole like swamp scene in there. And there's giant spiders and there's like snakes and just all the things that really make make me uncomfortable. I'm not a nature girl. Like, you can probably tell. I don't go camping. Nature freaks me out. So I was really, really not, I didn't know if I could do it this year. I didn't know if I could put myself through it one more time.
So she was a little bit apprehensive about the ADHD one. Haunted Hills was fine. So, I know I'm going to go through both. So I've decided. But she's right. There is this huge alligator in one part. Unfortunately, I don't have a picture of it. But it is literally like 10 feet tall. And as you walk through, it will come out at you. And it will like get you in its jaws. And
you
push
cannot
you up
escape.
Well, we thought we couldn't escape. But if you run fast enough, you can. So
if it gets you, you can't escape.
So she had some apprehension about ADHD, and so we walk up to the ticket booth this year, and we meet actually the owner's wife, who unfortunately I don't remember her name, and I'm sorry. She was amazing. She's super nice. Did you remember her name?
I don't know her name, but shout out, love.
She's Mrs. Phillips. I know that much.
Okay.
So and Courtney has some apprehensions about doing the house, and she expresses these to to Mrs. Phillips, and somebody might need to correct me on her name. I'm sorry. We are actually monitoring the chat right now, so if you guys have comments, please bring them in.
Yeah.
And we basically ask, like, I buy my ticket. She asks, well, what's different? And when we start talking to the owner's wife, she literally says, she's like, oh, you guys went on the tour in May? Mm-hmm. She's like, I haven't seen my husband since then. Like that's like 5 months.
Those were her words. Exactly.
Like, literally verbatim. I haven't seen my husband in 5 months. And he's been doing nothing but basically working on the actual haunt scene. Stop using the F word.
What?
Hannah's saying...
Is someone talking about amphibians?
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, the F word as in FROG.
Let's not. Whoever, stop.
Let's not talk about that.
You will be banished.
I was like, I'm not swearing yet. This is a kid show. Okay. So we go through, and she says that, and that like gets me like really like, I'm like, yes, awesome. I can't wait to see these changes. Really, really good. I mean, especially if you've done nothing but 5 months worth of work into the house. So we end up getting a little bit of a hookup, and we go and we decide that we're going to do ADHD first and just get it out of the way. I literally look at Courtney and I'm like, look, this is the hard one. We're not leaving here without doing this thing. We have to do this house. And they're like super nice to us. And we end up in line there. And I'm actually messaging Eric on Facebook. I'm like, hey man, because he wanted us to let us know when we were on our way. And we, I let him know like, hey man, we're here. We're in line for ADHD or whatever. And this is a testament to how cool Eric is. He actually pulls us out of the normal line, and which is funny because we have a bad line pulling thing from 2 weeks ago. But in a good way, he pulls us out of line, and he actually really hooks us up. He takes us to the ticket booth, and they give us like the fast pass to go through, and it's just like, yeah, like I felt like I was somebody. I was like, VIP. So that was really cool. So he gives us the fast pass, and there's like there wasn't much of a line into the fast pass, but the line for both haunts was like out the door. I mean, when we talked to them afterwards, and we'll talk about that a little bit, but they said they had a huge growth this year in their attendance, and I hope to God for them that it continues because it is so worth it. So he pulls us out of line, and we go through into the VIP line or the fast pass line for the ADHD, and we're going to do this one first. And I remember exactly. We had 2 guys in front of us.
2 guys.
2 guys. They were kind of taller, like bald guys, kind of like piercings and stuff like that.
And they had accents. I think they were from overseas and they had never been in before. So, I mean, advertising, they learned about it somewhere.
Well, you know what's weird though? It's like if you start off at like the shallow grave and you end up at like Hornites or like
you're ruined.
You're like ruined. You're like completely ruined. You're like, what is this Disney crap? Okay, so because it is like I don't know, whatever.
You can't say that.
HauntScene is like, or not HauntScene, but the shallow grave is like, it's like full. I call it full contact horror. I mean, it's completely different from anything else in Central Florida. It is completely unique. So we get in line. We got these two kind of bald guys, like punk guys, whatever, from overseas, and then we had two people behind us. I remember specifically.
Yes. Yeah,
and
they sent us in groups of 6, which in itself, that's terrifying. You literally have nowhere to hide.
So they pulse the line. And it's really cool that they do this. And I don't think they ever take a break from this. So if you are really wanting to get some good scares, go to the Shallow Grave, because they actually let you in very small groups.
Yeah,
so you're going to get
way more personal.
It's way more personal. So worth it.
Yeah.
So
at one point there were 6 of us, and we were in the front, and we had to switch because we were too scared. And there was a boy who was probably 10.
Well, hold on. That was the other one. That was Haunted Hills. But yeah, so we got a little kind of apprehensive in the second one, and we decided halfway through to just let the other group go. But we didn't quit. All right. So we're in ADHD, and we have 2 people behind us. I think it was a guy and a girl. And the first thing is you walk through this like big cave, and this big huge skull guy with this big staff, and unfortunately he always is talking, and I can't understand what he says. I just want to hear what he says. Somebody send me the transcript of what he says.
Yeah.
And because it's like loud, and there's so much activity going on. It's really hard to kind of track what the guy's saying. So we start in the house, and we go through like the spider cave, and there's these huge spiders, and there's spider webs everywhere.
Gosh.
And these like animatronic spiders, and they got like a character in a spider suit, and I don't like spiders. This is immediately making me uncomfortable.
Yeah, no, these are like Shelob's lair from Lord of the Rings, like and the things in the woods. Like they're not little spiders. They're humongous.
Did you just drop a Lord of the Rings reference?
I'm a total nerd. Don't.
No, I'm actually, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm actually a little impressed. So,
Thank you. Right. Well, that's how bad it freaks me out. And they some of them are fake, but they are gigantic. But then there are some that literally will move towards you, and they are you get hit by things in here. They're not gonna stop when they get to you.
You are not avoiding anything. There's stuff touching you all over the place.
Yeah. So through this entire sequence, I think I had my face buried in your backpack because it already was too much for me.
Yeah. So we get through the first part, which is the spider cave, and I'm already getting hit with these air blast thingies. Like it's funny because I talked to them afterwards, and like every once in a while, just to kind of keep you off balance, there's a gush of air. It's like, and it gets you, and every single one of my
there's a noise.
Yeah, it's like, it gets you. Now, I'm so glad I wasn't able to record the audio for that, because I would have to bleep it every freaking time. It was like bleep, bleep. It was, and I don't know, man. We met Eric. We met him. We got to talk to him for a little bit. I swear to God, Eric went in the house and he was watching me on the camera, and he was controlling all of the air gusts manually, because I got every single one of them.
I've never seen you jump so many times.
Like, dear God, man. It was crazy. So thank you for that if you did that. He we talked to him later. He's like, oh, well, there are sensors, and they kind of space them out and randomize them to get everybody in the group. Oh, no. I got every single one of the air blasts. Just you. Mm-hmm. So we get through the spider cave, and I'm not going to go super in detail because I don't want to spoil everything. But we look back after one room. The other people, gone. Just gone. We quit. We're out. And I watched this, the little promo on Fox 35, and they were saying that actually in the first weekend, 40 people quit. Like 40 people out of everybody that went into the house quit. And that's crazy. Like, that's amazing. So we made it, though.
We did. But we had been... I think I was behind you, but then when I realized there was no one else behind us, I had to switch because I didn't want to be in the back. So from then on, I had to be in front of you, and I forced you to be.
There is no safe spot in the Shallow Grave.
There's no safe spot. There literally is not. No. I'm having flashbacks.
All right, so we get through that one, and we go through, and there's like a voodoo scene. You go through this like voodoo shack, whatever. They got like a voodoo person there, and it's literally like, I don't know, man. ADHD is like Deliverance meets House of a Thousand Corpses. It's like batshit Winter Haven, Polk County insane. Like, this is my worst nightmare, literally. And
really, yeah.
Yeah. And so we get through the house. There's like a voodoo scene. They have a really cool kind of like doll scene. This midway. They all kinds of clowns and stuff like that. I can only imagine my friend Lindsay like having a panic attack and dying in the house because she hates clowns.
No, if you don't like clowns, stay far away.
Well, why do you tell them that?
Because I don't want. Okay. I was just imagining poor Lindsay having a heart attack. I feel like everyone deserves a fair warning.
Yes, I did scream like a little girl. I screamed like an absolute little girl. Now, at one point, we actually get to the alligator. 10-foot alligator, and it is a big, wide open space. And this thing is like a huge freaking alligator, and I decide to run. I grab Courtney, and we just run to avoid the alligator. And we like in a first sprint because it's like a 10-foot freaking alligator thing, and we ran past it and we avoided it. So, but if you've never been before, it's gonna get you. So it's really cool. And then I was like, whew. And I looked back at the alligator, and the alligator looked at me, and then all of a sudden I got blasted with an air bun. It was like again. It's like ah. So. The air gust got me every single time, man. I've never jumped that much.
You don't have a moment to let your heart rate go down. they're gonna get you as soon as you get
everything we described is the first like quarter of the house. I mean, it goes on and on and on. You're going through like a military base, and there's like these zombies with machine guns and all these like military people, and they've all killed themselves. And you go through like a hospital, and like there's just all kinds of crazy stuff going on. Now, I was looking at the actual description for ADHD, and I'm just going to read it real quick. Lose yourself in the tormented minds of the few that faced Thaddeus and were fortunate enough to evade certain death from the bloodthirsty Van Buren family. But are they truly free from Thaddeus and the agony he bestows upon his victims? The dread, the pain, the suffering, and escaping to live another day also gives way to the opportunity to die a little each day as your sanity rots. This is like definitely like Dr. Seuss children's materials here. As your sanity rots from the dark encounter with the very man that feels his survival is directly attached to your demise. Jesus.
Oh my God.
Suffer through the very same nightmares that the so-called lucky few pray for the Sandman to keep at bay for you, for there's no true escape from Thaddeus. Once he is in your life, he is there until he can steal it from you. That is the most uplifting thing I've ever read in my life.
Who did they get to write that?
I know, right? That's like sinister. I feel like I should print this out and burn it. Okay, so yeah, it's on the website. So theshallowgrave.com.
It is on the website?
Oh yeah, they've got the description for both of these.
If I read that before I went, I think I'd have to go back home.
Don't go to the website and read it. Just go to the website and buy tickets and pretend there's no backstory at all and just experience. Yeah, you'll be part of the backstory.
You'll be fine.
You'll be fine. It's great. So we get through ADHD, and like I said, I don't really want to go through and spoil it for anybody because it's amazing. It's all kinds of crazy props. I mean, the passion and the work and the detail and the characters, and everybody is like super aggressive, and they're out to get you and to make you have like a good time. They're not out to kill you, whatever. But we did have an interesting moment with one of the clowns.
We did.
So there's like this 6-foot clown. He's this huge bearded bald guy.
Big beard.
And he reminds me of like Captain Spaulding from I want to say evil Captain Spaulding, but Captain Spaulding is pretty much evil enough. And like he's like on the other side as we start to walk into this like midway. And he's a big imposing dude. And so he kind of, I think he like grabs your hair, or he interacts with you somehow or whatever, and we keep walking. And
I was definitely scared that I was going to have trouble with this guy.
And at the end of, as we starts to go into the hallway, he's like winking at us or something. And I turn to him and I like blow him a kiss. I'm like, and like literally like not even 2 seconds later, I start looking at the other room and I turn around and he's like right at the end of the hall going.
He's like I still want that
smiling
kid.
at me. It's like, It was like it was cute. It was cute. It's
it was adorable.
Yes, it was adorably frightening. So
yeah,
but
if he was real, I probably would have cried. But he was good about it.
Yeah, so that was kind of cute. Yeah, don't blow kisses to the clowns in the shallow grave.
No, I don't know why you would think to do
I
that,
don't
but
know why either. Apparently, I'm a
you
glutton
made a
for
new
punishment.
friend.
I made a new friend. So if I get a chance to go back to the Shallow Grave this year, which I would like to do because I want to buy a shirt,
Yeah. Hmm.
I yeah, that was like my touching moment, I guess. I don't know. It was still scary. So we get through ADHD, and Eric once again is nice enough to kind of talk to us afterwards. We meet him,
Hmm.
and we just kind
Hmm.
of like bum around for a little bit, and then we decide to get into the quick line for Haunted Hills.
Hmm.
And the Haunted Hills has like a big, huge wall of text description. As I said earlier, it talks about his backstory, being a caretaker, the Great Depression, things going wrong, and him deciding to be a cannibal or whatever. And it's not just
Hmm.
Thaddeus. Apparently, Thaddeus has a brother, which is this guy in like
Hmm.
this hockey slash sack mask
So tall.
with a huge tall guy, and he's got like a cinder block on a stick.
Massive. Yeah,
He's
they had
actually
him out front.
He's in the
We
commercial,
got there.
actually. He looks evil. I didn't know Thaddeus had a brother, but apparently these are all Thaddeus's family. He's like the icon, the main person of the event. So we go into the Haunted Hills. Now here is where we actually have some footage, not footage, but pictures from when we actually did the tour. Now
Hmm.
I cannot stress enough that the whole thing has changed. Now before we kind of get into that, when I left ADHD this time around, remember how I had some kind of like issues with the flow? It flowed like perfect. It
Yeah.
was like
Yeah.
flawless, like
It
every
felt like they
scene.
added entire new hallways, entire new scenes. And like when we first heard that they had done changes, I expected maybe they gotten some new props, maybe they switched a couple things around, but we were blown away by how
Yeah,
much had
it
changed.
it,
And
it
it
is.
really did feel like a new house that just really flowed well. And you could tell how much work they put into it. It was amazing.
It's my shirt in tribute to Jaws 19. That's funny.
Oh.
The ADHD is so amazing. Now look. If you're watching this and you've been to the Shallow Grave previously to this year, you have not been to the Shallow Grave. You
Yeah,
get your ass back there. Get your ass to the
exactly.
Shallow Grave
If you
like
think you don't
now.
need to see it again, no, you're wrong. Go
Yeah,
because it's an entirely new
it
experience.
is. It is great. It was absolutely amazing. They really did really did good.
Hmm.
Especially ADHD. I think I noticed more. I think the flow is what I really stood out to me in ADHD. Uh, but
Hmm.
um, but okay,
They
so
even added an entire new sequence at the very end.
they
That was a
did.
really terrifying room,
Yeah, if you
and
like
it
dolls.
utilized some props that had originally been in Haunted Hills, and they moved over here and
Mhm.
added some other things. And it was like one of the scariest rooms I think of the whole house. So
Yeah,
everything they did was
it was
on point.
unsettling. Like it was like, I hope this is the end.
Yeah,
Like it
yeah.
was.
I mean, when typically we go through houses together, like horror nights and stuff, and we can just walk through one by one. But I think throughout all of ADHD this year, I was literally holding onto your backpack straps, and I closed my eyes more than I ever
Yeah,
have before.
it was scary. So we make our way over to the Haunted Hills here, and we go through, and I have a couple pictures actually, just to
Mhm.
kind of talk about like going into this house here. So here's a ticket from last year, and the actual disclaimer on the back. Here's the ticket from this year. It's a little bit smaller. It's really cool. I had to kind of blow up the image a little bit for you to look at it. Here's the no refunds policy, which is hilarious when the two haunts are $25 and you're not going to go through alone. So you figure if you're going to leave the house, you're going to be with somebody else. So every time
Mhm.
somebody quits the house, it's like $50, like ching.
40 people in
Yeah,
one
40
weekend.
people. So that's like what, five times? Do quick math for me. What's 40 times 50? Well, 10 times 40 is 400. That's $2,000 from people quitting. Ching! All right. So no refunds. And they go through here. It's not quite as evil as the previous disclaimer, but they do, let you know that there is no refunds for this haunt. So you are signing your ass over to Thaddeus, which is
Yep.
really neat. Here's the actual warning. They've got two little warning banners like outside of the haunt, so this is what you
Mhm.
get to stare at as you wait to get in the house. So,
Exactly.
and it basically kind of goes over what we had in the ticket. So it is the most crazy haunt disclaimer I've ever actually seen in my life. So if this doesn't get you excited to go in the house, nothing will.
Fabulous. Yeah.
Now, as we walked around, and it's funny because this is the first prop that we saw, and you could see this thing from like across the street. It is a like 20-foot ghoul thing. And when you see this little zombie guy on the right, that is a full-size person mannequin thing. That's how big this like ghoul thing is, and it stands up and it like transforms into like this huge thing. It's like literally 30 feet tall. It's crazy looking. So that's one of the things that greets you right in as you start to walk into the actual ADHD. It's kind of towards the end of the little loading dock there. Now, as we walked around here, because we did take some pictures, we were waiting to get into the second house. This was Courtney's favorite character. This was like a guy with like voodoo paint on his face holding a 8-foot snake.
I don't think he was my favorite. I just had to keep my eye on him because I didn't want him to come near me.
Right.
I mean, literally, as soon as we walked up, they had a lot of actors walking around, and Eric was telling us that that wasn't even like as much as they're going to have in future weeks. He was saying that I think they're going to have like a lichen or something real big, so that you get scared while you're there. And I mean, they'll go in the line queues with you. They'll get all over you. The clowns will grab you. They'll take selfies.
They will take pictures, and they don't break character ever. Like they had this crazy clown guy was like, I don't know if they just like fed him 1,000 Red Bulls or whatever, but he was bouncing around everywhere.
And pixie sticks. Yeah, he was nuts. But
he was
so
nuts.
they're all over you till the minute you get in the house. And but yeah, this one guy had this real snake hanging around him, and I saw people running from him. I mean, I think probably even before they bought their tickets, he was scaring people away. So that was really, really freaky, but amazing. Where else are you going to see that? Where else are you going to see his character with a huge live snake?
Yeah, great photo opportunities for the shallow grave. Now we had like kind of like a doll person in a veil. I don't know how to describe this person. It's hard to describe these people because they're so just demented.
But I love that they're not the generic horror characters, the typical categories of the vampire and everything. They are really unique characters. I have no idea how they were this creative to come up with everything that's in there, because it's really like nothing else.
Now it's funny because we actually back in May we had a couple characters were walking around as we were having our dinner, and they had some amazing banana pudding. And one of the characters is kind of like this female who's wearing this big blonde wig, and she's got like this little feather duster, and she's in a corset, and she's kind of got this like clown get up with the like feather thing on the top here. And if you walk in a certain gift shop this year, and you look at it right when you walk in the park on the left, it has the same exact outfit. Well, the Shallow Grave did it first, so yeah,
it's really ironic.
Yeah, so that was kind of interesting because when I saw that this year, I was like, did they license that? I don't know, but apparently it's an outfit that you can get, and it's something they can do. So, but they copied. All right, so we got to get through these photos here. We got 17 minutes left. Here's the actual entrance into the the Haunted Hills here. It's this big house. It's got like this classic car in the front that's all like kind of broken down or whatever. Coincidentally, the car from the commercial where they have the girl in the trunk is here. And you walk into this house and it is, boom, you're on. Now, one thing that they did that we talked to them afterwards about is I really, really liked how the queue was set up. The entire line and the entire queue was outside of this big warehouse where they have these two haunts. And when you walk into the haunt, it's game time. Like, you are there. Whereas previously, at least in this part of it, the Haunted Hills, the queue actually like took you right up to the front door and kind of took you through a little side hallway. So that is a good decision, guys. So that was really, really cool.
Absolutely.
Now, here's the front porch. Everything here has like this green tinge to it. It's just kind of like sinister and evil. This like country home. Ugh. This is the first room you walk into. Literally, you walk into a room, and like after you pass this guy in a casket, there's some guy with like his like complete face like blown off or whatever, and everything is covered in grime and blood and guts and other stuff. And I will admit, man, the smell in the Shallow Grave is ridiculous.
There's a kitchen room.
Yeah. It is a smell, and it was funny because it was like an hour later, and Courtney and I were sitting at dinner, and I was like, I can still smell this in my nostrils. Like, it permeates here, and it is not a good smell. It is like very death meets bad stuff.
You're not in a good place.
Okay. Is there an age limit to the shallow grave? I don't know. There
so.
might be. You might want to.
I don't think so. I saw some young kids there
Yeah, okay.
that were braver than I was.
If you want to lose your kids, definitely take them if you want to scar them. Yep. All right, so we got all kinds of stuff going on here. This is an example of a fridge filled with body parts. Like I said, everything's smeared in grime and dirt and blood, and it's just here's like the body prepare room. It's like the morgue kind of thing. So a bunch of dead bodies here. And you know what's funny is we're actually like trained to think that these things are going to jump at you. A lot of the things in the shallow grave are like misdirection. Like you think this guy under the cover is going to jump at you. Oh, no. There's like a 6-foot dude like jumping out of the back of you or whatever. So they use
usually
misdirection really well.
You know, I'll look around all the corners and be like, oh, that's a boo hole. Someone's in there. But I mean, they would even have panels of the wall come out that I could not tell there was anything there. I mean, they would come out of all the places you would not suspect. They would come from the ceiling.
Yes.
Like.
Oh, we'll get to the ceiling in a moment.
Ooh.
So here's the infamous truck. So as you walk by this thing, you're like, oh, that's a truck in a garage. Oh, that's kind of neat. And then it lunges at you and beeps. And it's just like the biggest jump thing besides the air cannons, this thing is like this. Man,
yeah, if you're not ready.
You are not ready. You don't think a truck is going to start pulling out at you like rapidly, and this thing just it goes right at you. And it's funny because as you walk around the other houses or the other house, let's say ADHD, these houses are right next to each other. You can hear like this horn going off constantly, something. And you're like, "What is that?" And it's actually this truck leaping out at you. Now, I don't want to spoil it. Sorry, I don't want to give away too much, but it's one of the many things they really do right. Mm-hmm. And then we came to this room, which is like this tool shed / slaughterhouse thing, and holy crap, dude. We got past the truck, and like the truck thing came out, and I'm like, oh god, truck. And then I get hit with an air thing, of course. And then I look, and there's this like ninja redneck zombie thing. Does a
spider monkey
off the roof, like sideways flip, and lands on these shelves right here with a huge bang. And it was like, holy shit. So it was nuts. Like, yeah. And it's funny because we talked to Eric, and afterwards he's like, he knew exactly who that was because like freaking gymnast in here. So that was pretty crazy. That was probably my favorite, besides the clown kiss thing. That was my favorite moment in this house.
That was fantastic. Yeah, super unexpected, super scary, and just like that. Oh, I don't know how she got up there. I don't know how she was flipping around.
It was crazy. So they have a lot of large props in this house. You eventually make your way through a graveyard. And there's this huge dragon demon thing that comes out at you. These pictures do not do it justice. They are larger than life, and they're all usually like blacklit and glowing. And it's crazy when they come out at you. It's hard.
Yeah.
Here's one of the big guys. This guy's like 10 feet tall. Once again, doesn't really do the thing justice, but it's pretty neat.
Yeah, I mean, when they're there in your face, it's just like you have to see it. You have to go.
Yeah. You know what's weird is some other parks that I'm gonna say are unnamed. They have tried bigger props. And they have like failed horribly.
It's usually unsuccessful.
And these guys do it like really well. Like they're really cool. They're really neat. That's my picture, and I'm upside down. I hope the next picture isn't upside down. Okay, good. So this is my upside down picture. So turn around and look at this upside down, because apparently I didn't get a chance to rotate this picture properly. But I've always got my mouth open, scream in front of the signs, because Courtney was too good to walk in the grass.
I just, didn't. It was dark. I was freaked out. I didn't want to go in the grass.
And
I told you, no nature.
And then to kind of wrap things up, because we did hang out for a few minutes, and you don't want to just go and leave. I mean, take it in. I mean, they've got lots of characters to kind of interact with, take pictures. There's a couple food trucks out there, stuff to just kind of hang out. So just don't get there, do it, and run. Go. And when we actually got out of the second house, we did hang out because I was like, I want a picture with Eric because he's been so good to us. And not only did we get a chance to meet Eric afterwards again, we actually got a chance to meet Eric, and this is Eric Dodson on the left. He's the guy that we've been interacting with, and we love you, Eric. Thank you so much for being so good to us. You guys rock. In the middle, we have Mr. Phillips, and his name is Joe Phillips. He's the owner.
Joe Phillips.
We got to meet him, And then we got to meet Chad Ashley, the guy on the right here, and he's actually the house manager here. Now, we did get a chance to meet them in passing at like the Howl Scream, but they actually sat and talked to us for, I don't know, a good like 5-10 minutes. And
It was pretty cool. I was fangirling a little.
Yeah, we were kind of I wasn't fangirling, I was fanboying, but we got to talk to them, and we don't really, I mean, we know a couple people here and there, I mean, not to name drop or anything, but it was so nice to actually talk to somebody, and we gave them like legitimate truth feedback, and they were so intently listening on everything, and it was really really cool, and it was really great to give them positive feedback, because in both the ADHD and the Haunted Hills, it was so much better. You know, it's like I can tell that they've poured their hearts and souls into this for the last 5 months, because the houses were so good and they flowed so well and they took forever and every scare was awesome. It was like we could not express in words like how much of an improvement it has. And this haunt has only been around. This is year 3 for them. Who knows what kind of stuff they're going to do in the future? I mean, great
this
job,
year
guys.
they really blew it out of the park, and I think it's just a team of 4 or 5 of them that are really running all of this. And the amount of work they did since May is ridiculous. And there's, it's a big property out there. I hope they expand in the future, because for 3 years just to already be at this level, I really look forward to seeing what they're going to be able to do, because it could be amazing.
we did get a little bit of opportunity to talk to them about that, because I guess maybe now we're being greedy. We're like, all right, now you got these 2 haunts. What about the 3rd haunt? Like, because they got room in the warehouse. They got room for like another 2 haunts in there. It's like, come on,
it's pretty
guys.
big.
It's huge, and they were kind of Eric at least was talking about maybe trying to do something outside or in the area or a little different here. So we may see. I mean, this is like the jumping off point, and I gotta say, if this haunt is only 3 years old, who knows where we're going to be year 4, year 5, year 6. I mean, there is nothing like this in Central Florida. It is absolutely amazing. And I really, if you guys are watching this, from the bottom of my heart, we know you're going to do the theme park stuff. We know you're going to do, the big guys or whatever, the theme park guys. If you get an opportunity to go out on like a Saturday, because a lot of us can't go to the parks on Saturdays, go to the Shallow Grave, man. You will not be disappointed. Yeah. I tell them HauntScene sent you. So.
Yeah, no, honestly though, if anyone asked me, I wouldn't tell them anything about what to expect. I wouldn't want to ruin anything. I would just say, get in your car and go, because you don't want to miss it.
Yeah, you do not want to miss it at all. Do I have any other pictures in here? Let's take a look. I think the last picture that we took of the night was another upside down photo. Man, these photos are upright when I look at them.
Were you drinking when you put this together?
I had to drink after doing this haunt. I had to start drinking like really hardcore. I don't think I'm going to be able to rotate this right now. But this is Courtney and I, and we actually got a picture with all of us together with them. Yeah. So this was like the perfect way to like cap off the night, because we got to talk to them. They were really interested in our feedback, and it was really really cool that they sat there and listened to us. And this was, like I said, and it's so weird, because we talk about preview nights for other haunts and how to, if you can avoid them. These guys out the gate are just phenomenal. Just absolutely phenomenal.
It was a flawless experience.
Yes. Yeah. I bravo. So, bravo, folks. We give you we don't have a rating system. We need a rating system of some sort. We give you, I don't know,
10 skulls.
10 skulls. You heard it here first. All right. So, yeah, definitely do the Shallow Grave. It's 8:54, so we're kind of running a little bit low on time here. I told you we can get an hour out of this. I could probably talk about this more, actually, but we gotta go, because we only want to take up an hour of your time. We appreciate everybody who's watching it right now.
Really quick though, I want to give a shout out to Warehouse 31 Unleashed up here in St. Augustine. They are a new haunt that opened up last week as well, and they were nice enough to let my friend and I go out and experience it, and we got to talk to some of their characters. And it's also in sort of a big warehouse setting. Yeah, Warehouse 31. And it's, they just put it together in a month, but they are really pouring their hearts into it. The actors are doing a great job, and it's another sort of just one of those smaller, homier, more intimate feeling haunts. So if you are up in the northern Florida area or in Georgia and don't want to go all the way down to Central Florida or Orlando, definitely check out Warehouse 31. And thank you to Matt Medley for hooking us up and letting us check that out. So.
Yeah. So we don't discriminate. If you got a haunt, you want us to come out, reach out to us. HauntScene.com. Yeah. Use the contact link. You want us to come out. We've really been.
We want to see it all.
Yeah, we want to see everything. As a matter of fact, this weekend we're going to go to Screamageddon, which is in Dade City. So next week's show is actually going to be based on our experiences there. They have 5 houses. Well, they have 6 experiences, 5 houses, and one kind of midway games area.
Midway.
So
with beer.
We're gonna check that one out. Now it's brand new. This is the first year here. I did talk to Eric a little bit about it. He kind of gave me an opinion on it. We're definitely gonna go and check it out, and that's what we're gonna talk about next week here. You know what? This is kind of weird, but it's actually episode 5 right now.
Wow.
And we've actually reached our halfway point in the season, which is both amazing and pretty sad.
No disasters yet. It is.
Yeah, no complete
bittersweet.
meltdowns. Somehow we still do this every week. I don't know.
I hope someone appreciates it.
I hope
someone,
so too.
anyone.
Well,
Tell us.
I appreciate you. Yeah. Give us some feedback. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Look at the website. Send us an email. If you're a haunt, you want us to come out and check it out, let us know. We've tried to reach out to some of the remaining haunts, Screamageddon, Vault of Souls, Petrified Forest, Haunting in Old Town. Those are definitely ones that we want to get to at some point. If you want us to meet
we've got a few weeks left, and we're going to try to do as many as possible, as many as we can.
We're getting them done. We're getting them done. I love meeting the development people, the owners. I love hearing them just talk about how the work they put in. We appreciate that. I mean, we appreciate everybody's hard work. Honestly, I think out of everything, I think the Shallow Grave probably shows it more from a personal level than when you have like a big theme park and all that stuff like that. So, but we're excited. If I get an opportunity, I will try to do the Shallow Grave again at some point this season.
Definitely.
Tickets are like $25. They're pretty. Let's bring up the map again. They're pretty cost effective. So $25, $12.50 for both haunts, and you get scarred for life. Can't beat that.
Exactly.
Each haunt is $17. So I mean, you're saving a bunch of money here. You can get a quick death pass. The lines get a little crazy. It was opening weekend and was already busy. They have about 70 to 80 characters in the actual house. In there, you know it when you're in there.
Yeah.
They said they had some pretty good growth here. I think they said like 30% over the last year. So we want to keep that going strong for them. But definitely, if you get an opportunity, definitely check out the Shallow Grave.
Go do it.
All right, so that's going to do it for this week. Next week we'll have hopefully a whole new layout here for Screamageddon. We'll talk about that. Thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate it. If you're watching the replay, watch it live at 8 o'clock on Tuesdays from 8 to 9. We still appreciate you and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and roll credits. If you guys are from the Shallow Grave and you're watching, we definitely gave you some shout out the credits, so stick around and watch that for a little bit. And we will see you guys next week.
Happy haunting.
Bye. Speak easy.